Welcome to Able Pathways podcast. I'm Annabelle Ferber, founder of Able Pathways, executive function coach, and curious person who loves hearing stories from around the world about unique pathways of transformation and growth. Through these conversations, we hope to illuminate the infinite ways in which we grow and learn. Visit our show notes for resources mentioned on this episode. Today, we're speaking with AJ, who is a trained engineer who became a designer and entrepreneur. He founded Studio Sensorium in Sikkim, India, which aims to bridge the gap between academic design education and real-world application through books, websites, and historical projects with the Namgyal Institute of Tibetology. AJ shares his journey to finding his passion and finding creative outlets with photography and connecting with nature. Also included is a content warning for mention of a period of depression and suicidal thoughts. It is so nice to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise.
So you are calling in from Sikkim, and I am very curious to hear what entertains you. What gets your attention in the media?
Hmm. Honestly, I don't like consume a lot of media, but what I consume is a lot of nature.
Mm.
So I just end up sitting somewhere and I just look at the clouds. I look at, like since live in the mountains, I just like seeing the other side of the mountains where there are like houses, Now since Sikkim is growing, there's a lot of like small houses that's propped up, and in the evening I just enjoy seeing how like each and every one the lights in each and every one of those houses come up. It's just like a domino effect. There's like
Yeah,
one light that comes up, and then slowly the other one, other one, and suddenly everything is lit up.
that's
So I
cool.
like enjoying that. I really like enjoying that. But since you asked me about media, I think I can talk about a book that I'm reading. I think it's quite a popular one. It's called Flowers for Algernon.
I've read it.
Yeah. Okay, then I'm not going to talk about it. It's
No,
really nice.
please do. It's a book I read when I was like 13 or 14, and
Okay.
it really disturbed me. And even to
Mhm.
this day, I still think about it.
I, th- I think I really liked how the author has really done a good job. It's like called scribbles at first, and like it really feels like I'm reading a memoir rather than a book. Like from all the jumbled English to doing like really good thought, and like him, like thinking about his emotional growth versus like his intelligent growth, and he's just comparing himself, and he's constantly trying to reflect on the things that he has learned, and he's trying to up his emotional skills. So that's something that I find really interesting, because most of the people I know, I think smart people are kind of emotionally dumb. Not, I wouldn't say dumb, but like numb is a better word. And highly emotional people are kind of intellectually numb.
Mhm.
So when I read Flowers for Algernon, I was like, oh, okay. So something clicked in me, like, okay. So maybe like this assumption, or like this observation that I made, is not just something, not just an assumption, but it is a real thing. I mean, I haven't spent time and researched on like whether it's a real thing or not, but it's some kind of correlation that I've found, and I really
Mhm.
enjoyed it. It was really good. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think that's such an interesting way to look at it, and I hadn't thought about the book from the perspective of observing the emotional journey versus the intellectual journey, and
Journey.
that they don't move in the same direction. They kind of
Nation.
go in
Yeah.
opposite directions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, we use the word intelligence,
Yeah.
and we often just say the word like we're all defining it the same way,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
don't think any of us are defining intelligence the same way at
True.
all.
True.
So
True. True.
so
True.
the especially, for me as an educator, um, like I've witnessed so many different kinds of intelligence,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
but I also understand most of the time when we use the word intelligence, we're not
Mhm.
talking about all of them. We're talking about
All
like
right.
one kind,
one single particular ones. Yeah,
which is so limiting, right?
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
Um,
we hardly use it as an umbrella term. We just like, I think it's again some kind of bias that we have in our head, when we talk about intelligence.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There was
uh,
one of my professors developed,
mhm,
his name's Howard Gardner, and he developed the theory of multiple
mhm.
intelligences back in like 1970 or something like that. And I'm sure he wasn't the first one, but he's credited with this theory.
Okay.
Um, but I remember being really intrigued when he
Mhm.
mentioned um, intelligence for nature, because it made me stop and think, aren't we born with that? Isn't that a kind of intelligence that we're born with and that can be repressed? So
Mhm.
that a lot of adults, they lose touch with nature and they don't know how
Yeah,
to
yeah,
connect to
yeah,
it and they don't
yeah, yeah,
understand it. And
yeah,
so that's similar to flower style. There's like a loss of intelligence that happens,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
if you move to a city or you move somewhere where you're not really I mean nature's all around us all the time, but like the
Mhm.
earth
Yeah.
kind of like other animals
Mhm.
and other things
Mhm.
like that. Yeah.
True. I mean, I have heard stories of from my village, like talking about. So we still have traditional herbalists,
Mm,
so who just forage medicinal material. And what they say is that once you look at a patient, you know what kind of like sickness you are going through once you diagnose the patient, and you know what kind of sickness that the patient is going through. And then you just go out into a jungle, and then there are plants who actually talk to him, the herbalist,
yeah.
saying, hey, I am the remedy you're looking for. Just take me, and now it's just the herbalist's job to just take that plant and give and like change it or like add it with other plants, and then just give it like administrate to the patient. So I guess here, since we are so closely like tied with nature, we still have people and we do have who can talk to plants that way. So it's not just suppressed, but I guess for the younger generation now, I think it's that art, I think we are just totally losing it. But yeah, I'm so glad I'm
Yeah.
in a generation where I could experience that.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's something that you want a skill you want to develop yourself or have already developed?
I mean, I have a few of the skills that I developed from my aunt, because my aunt, she's tilled the land ever since I've known her. Ever since she was born. I mean, she isn't married, so she just stays at the home, and then she just tills the land. And few things that I've caught up from her is like predicting the weather. Like she just looks at the sky, and then she looks at the birds, and then she looks at the wind. She actually feels the wind, and she can say whether it's going to rain or not. And then I kind of observed her and I kind of learned that. So I'm so glad that I know that. But yeah,
Right?
I think I'd really love to learn these skills though. Yeah.
Yeah. I, that feels so important. There was a book I read about botany, Michael Pollan, one of his books. And he, I think, was trying to address this question of like, how did human beings know what
Mhm,
was healthy, what was poisonous, what was healing? And
mhm,
I think maybe in a sort of arrogant Western way, he was like, well, people tried things and some people died. And I was thinking to myself, no, that's doesn't make sense, actually, that there would have been other knowledge that would have helped the individual. I don't know. We just imagine, like, in the distant past, human beings weren't like us and careful like we are,
mhm.
and,
Yeah.
um, and that we didn't pass down knowledge and,
Mhm,
because he was talking about the almond is used to be completely poisonous, and there would be like one almond on a tree that was not as poisonous, and we cultivated the less
mm.
poisonous almond.
Solvents. Yeah.
But he was approaching this story like they're just a bunch of stupid humans popping poisonous almonds all the
Yeah.
time. There's no way that's how that happens because we fail to think of our past as intelligent, right?
True.
Anyway, Flowers for Algernon, great book and great for any age to read. It's really a
Definitely.
good book. Um,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, you shared with me that you are trained as an engineer. consider
Mhm.
yourself though, and you are an entrepreneur and a designer. Tell me how you got into that, from engineering.
Okay. I think in order to understand that, I think you need to understand how I got into engineering.
Ah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So the thing with India, and I think since you're living in America, like Indians produce a lot of engineers,
Mhm.
and that's because we have so many engineering college. I guess India has the highest rate of engineering college anywhere in the world, and
Mm.
all of them are very shitty engineering colleges. Okay,
Oh.
they, yeah, and so engineering has become this thing where, like, it's like the aspiration of every parent, in India for quite some time now. So you either after your after you finish your school, what you do is either you go into engineering or training to be a doctor, right? And if you do anything else, then your parents are not happy. And living in India, when you are like after school, you don't know because you are not exposed to a lot of things, And like I guess back then when I was still in school, I guess I did know a lot of things, but still I was not like equipped with knowing everything that was happening out there. And so I guess I just went into engineering because that's what my parents thought was best for me back then. And then I got into engineering, and I guess it's like a rite of passage for most Indians as of now.
Mm.
Um, it's just like the 4 year is an experience. You learn a lot of skills, which is basically how to fool the teacher because you want to sleep.
Life
Yeah,
skills. Mhm.
life skills, yes. But yeah, engineering, I didn't really like engineering, but I guess there was this one time so since I didn't really like engineering and the things that they taught me, I liked some of the modules and I went to classes for those modules. And for the modules that I did not like, I didn't go to class at all.
Oh,
I
okay.
just
Mhm.
I just I just sat in my room. I opened my laptop and I just tried new things. So I tried a lot of stuff. I tried to make music. I tried photography. I tried to write. I mean, I still do write. It's something that I've learned and really enjoy. Um, and I also tried designing. And I think the design stuck because we one day my friend just came to me and he said he wants a fake ID card, because he's lost the original one. And in order to make the original one, it's like 500 rupees, which is like roughly $5. And as students, we don't really have that kind of money,
Yeah.
So I just ended up making a fake one from him, and it was so realistic that it looked just like the original one. And so I was like, "Oh, wow, okay, I think I should do more of this."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how like I kind of got into design. I mean, I was always into photography. I really love like taking pictures of places, people, but also of like still life. Something about like the world around you just like lying still and no one is like really giving attention to it, but like I just find beauty in that. Just like things being the way they are and just being in the moment. I like to take pictures of those things. And I guess like photography and design, not just design, but like editing pictures and everything, along with me trying to make fake ID cards. I think that's how I got into design. And yeah, I guess after I finished college, which I did not really like, I just found my calling in that. I really liked doing what I was doing. So apart from making fake ID cards, I started learning how to make websites. I learned how to make posters. Learned how to make banners. And slowly by slowly, I understood. I mean, I didn't have a teacher yet because I just was doing things by myself, right? But
Yeah.
I'm so glad that YouTube popped up then, and then there were a few courses which actually taught design as a philosophy and not just like a way of
Mhm.
earning money. And I'm so glad that I
Yeah.
found those YouTube videos because it changed my whole perspective about design. Like I think I started by like just trying to solve these mini problems, but then when I saw those videos and I read some books, I started seeing it more as a tool, more as a process or a system, for
Yeah.
solving problems. Yeah, rather than hey, I make cool stuff. I'm a designer,
Right.
So yeah, so I think that when it clicked to me that like when it clicked that you know what I'm doing can be so much more. It has so much meaning behind it. I think I really jumped into being a designer. And so
Yeah.
I looked for a job and then I got the job and then I learned more stuff in that job. And then, yeah, I just worked for like 4 or 5 years and I ended up in the corporate world and I ended up working for some fancy company that I think that's an American firm actually. I'm not gonna name it, but yeah, when I worked with them for 2 years, I think I got tired of the whole corporate world and I was like, fuck it, I'm getting out of here. So
Mhm.
I came back home and in Pakyong and I met an old friend of mine. So and the thing with like living in a village is like it's a community and the community doesn't segregate who you are or where you're coming from. So all of my friends back then, we just used to play in the fields randomly, like we knew our parents. So some of their parents would work in the field, some of their parents would be the driver of a car or something like that. So like multiple income levels and everything, right? So some of them live in a brick house, some of them live in a very thatched roof kind of houses. And you don't really care when you're a child. So you go there and then you just enjoy stuff, right? And so I met one of my friends, right, coming back, and he was really good into drawing and he would solve problems creatively, back then. But again, since his parents thought that tilling the field was much more better than going to school, he's still tilling the fields, right? But I guess my parents thought education was better, and so now, hey, I'm doing a designer, and I still can draw well, but I know without drawing, I can just still explain my thoughts to other people creatively. And I just felt like, hey, if he had gotten a space or an opportunity to explore what he had, right? But the innate skills that he had today, he would not be tilling the land, but he would be a designer like me. And so that's why I thought, why not create a space for them, for people like me or like people like him, so that we can come together, be a collective, so that we can learn design and do things together so that they don't really have to. I mean, tilling the land is obviously awesome, but
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, there's joy. There's a different kind of joy that comes from when you know you are too good at something and you are actually doing something with your life and the skills, no?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so that's why I started my studio. It's called Sensorium, and yeah, that's how I started the whole thing.
Sensorium. That's a great name. Um,
Thank you.
so backtracking a little bit, so you weren't that into school and engineering, but it sounds like you did figure out you like problem solving and then you looked for
hmm
creative outlets, other ways you could
hmm
more creatively do the problem solving,
Yeah.
built your own design studio, Sensorium, um,
Mhm.
and some benefits to this very talented friend you have that couldn't go to a school but is learning. So, what do you
Yeah.
guys get up? What kind of projects do you have at your design studio?
I guess we have a lot of like projects. A lot of them range in publication. So we make a lot of books,
Cool.
which is again like some books are for conserving the Sikkimese tradition, and culture. Some books
Mhm.
are basically like for the school that it's works in. A lot of projects are like web design projects, websites, and stuff like that. And I think I work with a lot of NGOs helping them build their brand because I feel the thing with NGOs and any organization is like, and I think is that we know what we are doing and we're so passionate when we're doing it, but we don't really show ourselves to the world. Like we're so busy doing good things or things that we're passionate about that we totally forget that hey, people need to know about you.
The marketing side?
Yeah, the marketing side, yeah.
Mhm.
So I do that. I help
Yeah.
organizations to do that. Yeah. So that's what my projects. mostly
That's
entails.
that's
And
so
I guess like
cool.
something that I'm really like, I mean, since I told you the story of Sensorium again, it's like I'm really I really like to teach people design, because I don't take it up. I feel it's a philosophy. And so I really like to teach people how to think, how to think, how to break the thing like complex problems into its individual parts and then solve
Mm,
from the ground up.
mm,
So that's also something that I do. And I really enjoy doing that.
yeah. What are your goals or like where do you see Sensorium going from here?
I guess I guess I would really like to, start something. Like I feel like right now I'm not being able to impact a lot of people. Like I'm not being able to scale the
Yeah.
learning part, the teaching part, right? And
Yeah.
which is something I really want to do moving forward. But also I think I would really like to find more projects which are very impactful because I mean there are projects that I find very impactful in terms of the whole Sikkim narrative. But I mean I think I think Sikkim being a very geographically locked state for like the entire time it's been in existence, I think we are quite shielded, and so I'd like to expose me and my team to the whole wider world and learn so many other things.
Do you plan to stay in Sikkim, do you think? Or are you thinking of going
Yeah,
out?
I think I'd like to go out. But I guess when you start when you're an entrepreneur, right? You can't just leave things because you've got lots of responsibilities.
No.
So, I mean, I would
Yeah.
obviously love to go out and learn more, and I guess come back home and again teach people the stuff, and then again go back, learn
Yeah.
something and then come back. So yeah, that's something that I'd really like to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, but also at the same time, I feel like being in Sikkim, you have this, since you're so connected with nature, you learn to notice the little things and also reflect on it. And so a lot of learning comes from nature and the people around you itself.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
for that, I think I'm really grateful.
I love asking people about like the unexpected detours that happened in their life because I feel like that often brings us to unexpected places. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, to some extent, your story sharing about being an engineering student and then
Hmm.
finding your own path is, but that doesn't feel totally like a detour exactly because that's like an
Hmm.
extension of the problem solving kind of mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, were there along in your life like big detours or like unexpected things that came up that really changed your perspective?
Uh, I mean, if you know the Signal's context more, like I think this is it's like a very big detour for me and the people around me, because most people here they want a government job because that is secure. And I think I've always been the black sheep of the family where I don't listen to my parents and yeah, and they don't really understand me. In fact, even now they don't know what I do. They just see me like working on the computer like 24/7. And every time I try to explain them what I'm trying to do, they just don't understand and they're like, I think you're just wasting your time, you're just wasting your life, and then you should just find a better job. And it's kind of disheartening at point, but I mean, I believe in myself, so I'm just going to. I mean, I've always done whatever I wanted to do, anyways, right? So yeah, but I think detours. I think I've already talked about a detour. Like the whole design thing was like a big detour for
Yeah.
me because I guess me I am a very curious person, so I keep looking for things, and like I think I am sort of a novelty seeker as well because like I don't stick with something for a long time. Somehow I have stuck to designing. Maybe offers the variety that my mind craves for. Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Mhm. There's always
yeah,
a new problem to solve,
that's
right?
always a new problem to
Always.
solve. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess like in hindsight, now that I've like I think it did not feel like a detour because like in hindsight, now that I've like really processed my fear, and the thing with me is like I really write and I like process my thought and like reflect it, and I see, oh, that was that inflection point in my life. So it did not feel like a detour. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
just letting.
Yeah. No, but that's like when we look back, I think we do apply a kind of storytelling
Yeah.
to contain our experiences and make sense of them. So yeah, it sounds to me like there's a smooth story there for you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious about, you said you really enjoy teaching. Um, and as in the field of education myself, I'm always curious about how people perceive what learning and teaching is. What are the ways in which you like look at learning differently, or like the way that you teach maybe differently than the way you were taught?
I guess I was taught through books. And
Mm,
I think in all of my like the teaching that I do, I hardly touch books, you know.
mm,
That's like a major difference. And I think when I was taught to memorize, jot, and then just vomit the things that I memorized, you know.
mhm.
And in a way that I didn't really feel it as learning. And I mean, I remember in school, you know, like most of my people would memorize things, but I think I just read things and I try to make sense of it in my mind, right? And then once I made sense of it in my mind, now I know everything. Like I know what people are talking about, you know. And then I can just play with my the words. I can play with the ideas and thoughts, and I can just like make something to new into a new from it. And then I just have to write about that, you know. So I mean, that's how I actually learn things, and that's also how I see things even now, you know. So I guess I wasn't really taught that way. I mean, it's something that I just like developed by myself per
Yeah,
se. Um, and so when it comes to teaching people, you know, I just try to, I think it's one thing that I really try to do is like, not try to do, but I rather do is like, you know, teach them where needs reach out to their individual levels, you know, because I think my teachers, they never did that because it was a class of 30, 40 people. And then they taught as if all of us were equal, but honestly, you're not
the
equal. Some
same.
are smart, some, right?
Yeah.
And so I really like when I go and teach out to people, like when I teach people, I really try to go goes where they are and where they're coming from, you know.
Yeah.
And once I know where they're coming from, then I can like tweak the whole whatever I'm teaching, like the whole sort of thing in a way that everyone understands. So
And is the way that you teach, like, more hands-on, like, you're working on projects, that it isn't
yeah, I
just
think
book learning?
yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite no, it's very hands-on. And I think one of the good things that I do is like, I mean, I I do a lot of one-on-one sessions with the people with the people I like to the people with the people I teach, you know, and so that allows me to like understand who they are and like what kind of experiences they have in their life, right? And so when I'm teaching them something, I just use uh similar experiences from their life so that
yeah.
they can connect to the things that we are actually learning, you know.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of evidence that the the brain pays attention to itself, to things that it already knows,
Already
right?
knows.
It
Yeah,
already knows
yeah.
it has to it's like it has to, I think of, like, Velcro, like, it has to, like, attach to something else to
Hmm.
make
Hmm. Yeah.
that new piece of knowledge stick or make
Hmm.
sense. Um,
Hmm.
and that if it's just a floating new idea and it has nowhere else
Hmm.
to connect to, it can get
Hmm.
lost really easily.
True,
That makes
true,
sense.
true.
I need to start prefacing my podcast like Rebellion Alliance colon. It's amazing. Like, the number of times I've heard, like, I was supposed to do this traditional thing and I decided to break somewhere, either
Yeah,
at the beginning, in the middle, afterwards, somewhere there was like a,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
doing this. I'm gonna do my own thing.
Intense, yeah.
And I guess what I wanna ask you
Mhm.
is like, where did your inner confidence come from, do you think, to forge your own path despite that not being something that you had a lot of support with, culturally or within your family?
Oh, I mean, I think I'll just tell you about one small incident I think that's triggered it all. So, like I told you, I was very curious, you know, and then and the thing is, like, my parents, they are quite conservative and religious, and so they have these weird rules, you know, which is like you can't get out of the house on a Tuesday and you can't enter the house on Saturday, right? And it's also stupid. It's like why the hell can't you like leave the house on Tuesday and enter the house on Saturday, you know? And so I used to ask my parents, I like, who made this rule and why? How is this applicable, right? can you give me examples? And they were like, no, my mom taught me this, so I'm teaching you this. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I think I used to ask a lot of questions like these, and I think that made me realize, okay, I think these people, they're just doing whatever their ancestors told them, and they don't really know a lot of things, and they're still yet to figure that out, you know.
Mhm.
So in a way, it's better I figure things out by myself, you know. And I think a lot of like, I think when I was young, I think since I already started to figure things out by myself, I didn't have to rely on people, you know, like, and I think very early in life, I learned that failure is okay. Like, I learned like my mom was very scared that I would like, you know, she never taught me how to cook because she thought that like, you know, I might just burn the whole house, which I kind of did because like I I, I learned to cook myself anyways, right? And I mean I have like broken the fridge of my house. I actually put like eggs on the microwave, and I think that's something you never should do because like the eggs just bursts and
With the
the microwave
shells
was like
on?
on fire. Yeah,
With
yeah,
the
yeah,
shell, because you could put
yeah.
eggs in no shell. Yeah,
Yeah. So I think
that's
I've
funny.
experimented with a lot of things in my entire life, and most of those experiments was to learn things out of it, you know. And most of those ended in failure, but it was okay because I learned something valuable from it, you know.
Yeah,
And yeah, I guess like, and once you start doing those things, I think you just build that confidence, you know, that
it
hey,
builds.
this is
Yeah.
it's not working out, but hey, I found a way of not to do things, you know. So keep moving on, and then eventually, like I found ways that work, you know. So I guess that just builds up confidence, and so I guess that's how I found my own like inner confidence, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and like a inner ability to
Yeah,
be unafraid of failing and to use it
yeah,
as just another step of figuring out like
seven,
the problem
yes,
solving mind that you
mhm,
have.
yeah,
It's really cool. Also to how I mean to be questioning, it's hard to question culture, you know?
mm-hmm,
And at least in my story, I say, well, I learned to question culture because I never lived anywhere
mm-hmm,
for longer than like 2 years. I moved so much. Uh,
mm-hmm.
but I've always wondered, how do you develop that if you're in one place? And you've
Yes, yeah.
just demonstrated to me, like, for you, it sounds like a pivotal moment was questioning a rule. And maybe there probably other people around you that didn't live by those rules, right? What religion is your family?
So my family, they are like I think they are Buddhist, but they are also Hindu, and but they also still follow a lot of like visual on the
Animist?
space.
Oh,
Animist, yeah, they are also animists, so it's a mix of everything. Yeah.
maybe that's some of the but I was thinking, like, I bet you had friends who could leave the house on a Tuesday maybe, and that helped you to question, like, why
Sort of, yes, yes. I did have friends.
some
I mean,
families did
this.
this and some didn't. Mhm.
Because we did live in like, I think another thing would be like us as like Hindus, we did not get to eat pork and beef, and a lot of my Bhutia and Lepcha friends, they get to eat pork and beef, and when you get to ask like why he can but I can't, that's not equal, right? And so yeah. Mhm.
We kind of when you're a kid, you think adults have it all figured out. And then you become an adult and you realize, "Oh, no, nobody knows." Nobody knows what's going on, right?
Uh-huh.
It helps
Uh-huh.
you continue to really, like, rethink what you've been taught and,
Mhm,
like,
mhm,
what's true and not.
mhm.
Was there a particular, like, moment that at the time felt like a failure or felt like something going wrong, that helped you out actually, and instead of it being a failure, it was something you really got to learn from?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm so sorry. I think like I said, I reflected on things and now it's like a very linear timeline. But my
Mm,
college life wasn't really a good place, you know. I was depressed. I was
yeah,
sad. I used to have suicidal thoughts. And I mean, in my second year of college, I kind of failed the whole semester because I wasn't going to classes anymore. I was
yeah,
just like sitting up and just exploring things, you know. And so I guess like me being a rebel, but also I was quite smart in school because like I didn't really have to study like the other people because like I just like see, I just break things down, I don't understand, and just like write what I understood, right? And so I always got good marks in school, and I didn't really have to work my of like other kids because they were just like jotting and like memorizing things, right? And so when my parents like realized that I had failed college, they were very heartbroken and they were very saddened. And I guess I didn't want to let them down, but somehow I did. And that made me quite depressed and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt lost because I don't want to do engineering. And the only way to move forward or get out of the that my college was to, well, do engineering, run engineering, right? And so those were very hard times where like I had to push myself just to get out of my room, just to get out of my bed and go to a place that I really hate and learn things that I even hate even more. And so I think that was a very terrible point of my life. And I think I was at my lowest because that was also the times I was doing something that I really, really hated. And the worst thing is like I could not even run away. I was finding other outlets of like making myself happy. And design seems to be one of them, which I stuck to. Um, but yeah, I think that was something that was really bad for me back then. Because I mean, college life was torture. It was like real torture, and I think, I guess since like I'm very outspoken and like I have like opinions on everything. So again, when teachers used to tell me something and I thought it did not sit right with me, I questioned them. And
Mm,
I think one thing that teachers don't like is you being smarter than them. And then
mm,
and then I guess that way I kind of like my teachers did not like me because I questioned them and made sometimes I mean I didn't know it back then, but I kind of ended making a fool out of them because like there were many things that they didn't know and I somehow knew, and then that made them feel inferior, so they didn't like me at all. And so yeah, just being able to just go there and do something that I don't really like to do. That was bad. That was bad. College was bad. But I think it also let me find and do other things that I really liked and enjoyed doing.
Well, you sounds like you fought for yourself and you fought
Mhm.
to like, you didn't give up, even though it was so terrible and that some people might not have been able to survive that, but you found a way to redirect your energy to something
Music,
else
yeah.
and, like, not
Mhm.
give up on you and, like,
Yeah.
the skills that you have. I think a lot of really precocious, I mean, that's a word for it, but I think a lot of very smart people,
Mhm.
um, can intimidate a teacher, especially if the teacher is there
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
satisfy feelings of superiority and power instead
Mhm.
of, like,
Mhm.
the love of teaching, which,
Yeah.
I mean, both can exist, but,
Yeah.
um I've heard from a number of people I've spoken to just
Mhm.
about, like, the very high top-down, like, hierarchical
Mhm.
relationship between teacher and student, and
Yeah.
you would have been, um, challenging, not just them, but,
Mhm.
like, challenging that system itself.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
deeply rebellious. Yeah, yeah. It's really cool. Um, in a good way, like, in a really good way, not just
Mhm.
to argue. Um,
Yeah.
hmm. What do you love about design?
Ah, I don't know. I don't know. I think there are different aspects to design that I love. When it comes to teasing design, I see the spark of that, the spark in their eyes, when they're like, array, oh yeah, this is how it's done, you know? Like,
Mm,
when like I think even you've tried some kind of like designing a poster or something like that, and it's looking so bad in the bad at first, right? But slowly you start putting things together, and then you're like, oh, now it's looking so pretty, and then they have that spark in that eye. Like that is
yeah.
something I really love, and like guiding people to reach there, that is something, I mean, like I think that is a reward in itself. So that is
Yeah.
something that I really love about design, uh like teaching design to be exact.
Yeah.
Other things I really love about design is like it brings its own like challenge, and every like project brings its own challenge, and most of the time it's something that I'm doing for the first time. And so I have to like really sit down and I have to learn about a lot of new stuff. I have to research and I have to figure out so many nitty-gritty things that I did not even, and I think most times when I do it, I just learn about things that I never knew existed, and then just
Mm,
that just adds to my own knowledge itself, right? And I think the other beautiful thing that I love about design is that, I really like connecting things together. Like, I mean, like when right now, what I am really interested is like right now I'm working on a project and we need to print a lot of stuff, like for flexboards and outs. It's an exhibition from the French embassy that we're doing. It's so interesting now because like there's a war in Iran and petroleum, the price of petroleum is rising all over the world. And I called to my printer and he says, hey, we need to print banners, and which is like 300 square feet and everything. And he tells me, because of the war, prices of petroleum has gone up. So the price of plastic has also gone up per square feet. And that's so interesting, like a war so far away is affecting a small business here, right? So those little things, I like, there's so many, I mean, this is just one example, but so many other things like these little things, those interconnectedness of systems, right? That is something that I really love about design. And
yeah.
like, making these like little things like work in your favor or in your client's favor, right? That's something I think that's really beautiful. That's what I do. That's what I love to doing, and I think that's what makes me go on doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like the way you're describing design is
Mhm,
there's so much novelty and there's
mhm,
so much creativity.
mhm,
And it sounds like you like a challenge. You like a problem to try and figure out and solve. I do think that
mhm,
human beings are much smarter when we do have to problem solve than when things are
mhm.
when there's no
Always set up
friction.
for them. Yeah.
Yeah, like a little bit of friction really helps us think
Mhm.
better.
Think
Um,
better. Yeah.
mhm. And
Mhm,
I mean, I know that that it sounds like you're very happy in what you're doing and you big part of what you get to do is also teach. But the way your eyes lit up when you were talking about teaching, just saying, um, that's the hidden because sometimes people will say to me like, "Oh, like,
mhm,
teaching is really hard," or like, "Working with whoever is really, really hard."
mhm,
I feel like they're not seeing what you
mhm,
get out of
mhm,
teaching, that it isn't just an act of service, that you
mhm,
get
mhm.
so much back.
Much more.
Like,
Yeah.
seeing someone where something clicks is just so
Mhm,
satisfying to or helping empower someone to communicate
mhm,
better or to
mhm,
learn a skill so that they can
mhm.
like have a better life. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's addictive.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, you definitely have the teaching bug in there. Did you ever read the book Dune?
Oh my God, that's my favorite.
No, it's my favorite. Really?
No, it's my favorite. Yeah. Well, it's our favorite.
It's our favorite. Remember, my dad gave me Dune when I was like 13, and
Oh,
I
okay.
read it and was like, I don't know that I understand this. So I read it
Stand
again.
it, but I love it. Okay.
I mean, I love science fiction because it's like
Mhm,
an empathy machine, right? You can just,
mhm, mhm,
well, any fiction or nonfiction too can be like
mhm,
empathy machine, where
mhm,
you can just, I really enjoy getting into other people's minds and like seeing things from different perspectives. I do love alien stories where you're like
mhm,
really in the mind, like Octavia
mhm,
Butler's
mhm,
works. If you've read any
mhm.
of her, have you read any of
No,
her?
I have not. But I think I want to recommend Cloud Atlas to you.
I have read it. I love it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I was gonna say with Dune, especially when you get to like Children of Dune or God Emperor of Dune. I mean, Dune, the first book also teaches you this lesson,
It's to
but like this lesson about charismatic leaders and this lesson about blindly following and these
following him.
lessons of
Mhm.
what it is to question the systems that you're in. I attribute a lot of my intellectual growth to stories like that or
So it's
to books like that that got my brain thinking in different ways.
down.
Um, yeah. So, I mean, I sort of asked you a future question, but um, are there any parts of your story that we haven't touched on that you think would be interesting to share about transformation or about growth?
I want to talk about my aunts, because like they are so connected to nature. They know things before it happens, and that's something that my uncles, like, even they are like farmers, right? They don't know those things. Yes, they have the strength. They can ask an ox to do, like, get up the field or go down the field. They can do that with a stick. But like my aunt and all, I think they're really special in that sense that they can just look at a flower and like, oh, okay, this flower is going to die, and
Mm,
then they just like do something and the flower lives. But similarly with the weather, they're like, okay, it's gonna rain tomorrow, and it actually rains tomorrow. And it's something that the males in my family, they never learned. Maybe I don't know why they didn't learn, but like I think they're so in tune. The women in general are so in tune with nature and the things around them. So I guess and that's why I feel like in the past, like, women, when they were hunter gatherers, I think those kind of insights really did help the women to become better at what they did. Because I feel since we are like, I mean, like men, I feel like women are much more emotional than us as men. And since that emotionality brings, like, helps them connect with a lot of other things and just like the male
mhm.
counterparts. And that's a strength that women have. And I respect them for it. And I'm also envious that I don't have that.
Um, can I argue with you for a second?
Sure.
Okay, I'll throw it out there. Um, I think men are just as capable of those skills that you described that your aunts have, but because we live in a world that has separated
Rules.
humans
Yeah.
from nature, men from women, that separation is what leads to a loss of deepening one's human
Yeah.
experience when you
Yeah.
say that. And when you are a marginalized or repressed group, when you are
Mhm.
constantly less than in the world, you sharpen your survival skills, you sharpen your senses, and you sharpen your emotional awareness. So I don't biologically think that women have special powers, but I think because of the way women are
Definitely. Yeah.
treated, it shapes a type of intelligence the way um and
That's a nice perspective.
that's my point about, and I'm not saying that men and women aren't different. We are very different. Um, chemically, we can be different, but that is the
Yeah.
chemical differences don't correlate with emotional intelligence for me. Um,
True. True. True.
and it's like
Okay.
if you're born with if you're born and perceived as dominant because you're male,
Mm,
that could be limiting to the type of
mm,
development and awareness that you create to survive and navigate the world.
mhm,
Um, so just as women could become strong and be great hunters, because of course hunting isn't like
mm.
tackling an animal to the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah. It's just a
It's
skill. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
quiet patience, right? And
Mhm, mhm,
it's waiting and it's having hand-eye coordination, which has nothing to do with muscle
yeah.
strength or whatever.
Innocence. Yeah.
Um, so just as women could be excellent hunters, men can also be intuitive and emotionally intelligent.
True. Thank
Um,
you. I think that's a nice perspective that you brought. I mean, I'd love to argue with you, but nah. I
no,
don't.
no, you can. I don't mind an
I don't have good
argument.
points now. I don't have really good points right now, so I think I'll just
Okay.
like tell you about it later. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, argue with me later, please. I do think it's like having that back and forth and then like
Mhm.
reevaluating
Conversation. Yeah.
evidence is really
Mhm.
important. But
Mm.
AJ, I know we're at the end of our time here, so do you want to share a message to other folks in your community or someone who may be also interested in design and entrepreneurship to have advice about the path from your own life?
I think I think it's a very, I guess whatever I'm gonna say is very generic, but I think people need to listen and do this more, which is like your whatever you want to do, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to go out there and do it and fail at it a lot of times. And
Mm,
eventually it will click and you'll really enjoy the journey, because no one is perfect, we're not perfect, we're all learning. And I guess it's very important that you are humble all throughout your journey and you keep on trying and you believe in yourself and you trust in yourselves. So, and
mm,
it's going to be hard and you'll have to push yourself every day. You have to wake up every day and you have to continue doing that multiple times, even if you just want to sleep on your bed, you know. But yeah, I guess trying things out, failing at things, and again standing back up and like keep doing it, and not waiting for the stars to align, you know, just doing it and then just improving on the way is the way to
Mm,
move forward. So I think that's
mm.
just something I'd like to share.
It's really good advice. And I think no matter what culture, or certainly in both of our cultures, we look at failure as a bad thing.
Hmm.
And for me as a teacher, you don't learn unless you fail. So
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
very important to learn
Hmm.
those problem solving
Things.
skills and build the
Hmm.
inner confidence and strength
Hmm.
to keep getting back up because
Yeah.
life is hard. Um, you've shared a number of great resources. Any person or organization or business or anybody you want to shout out and promote on the show?
Well, I think this is a person that I'd want you to interview next, and
Ah,
also someone I'd like to promote. Yeah.
okay,
Uh,
perfect.
yeah. Yeah. I think. So I'm working with her. So we're making a exhibition. You know. So I'm designing an exhibition for her, and it's about Alexander David Neal. She was the first lady to reach Tibet, and she's the reason like France has a lot of so-called anthropologists or something like that. So because she just
Anthropologist. Yeah,
inspired, yeah,
yeah.
she just inspired a whole generation of people to explore the Himalayas and everything, right? And I think, and I think she's also the reason. Like, have you read the book 7 Years in Tibet?
No, I did watch the movie. I didn't read the book. No.
Okay, so since she was the first lady to reach Lhasa and expose the whole, like I think she's also the reason why, she's also the reason she's the person who brought Tibetan Buddhism to the West, right? And so yeah, we are doing an exhibition for that, and the person who's actually doing it is Anna. The person that I'm shouting out to. Her name is Anna Balikichi Denzongpa, something like that. So, but like it's really interesting, you know, because like she's a researcher, and she's not even Sikkimese, you know.
Mm,
Yet, if I want to know anything about Sikkim and its history, I think she's the person I'd go to because she has like so much nuanced knowledge about Sikkim, you know. And like she's a Swiss Canadian lady and she's here and it's like she's dedicated her entire life to the people here. And like
mm,
when I work with her, I really enjoy working with her because there's so much to learn from her, you know, not just about the place I'm from, but also again like the little things, how like things click, you know, because I really love understanding connections between things and how the way she tells the stories about those things, you know, like hey, like the king was here, he met the princess, like who was from an American like this, and like things happened, you know. So yeah, I think like I really enjoy working with her. And also she's like living encyclopedia when it comes to these parts, like when it comes to Sikkim. And so I think if you'd have a really interesting conversation with her, right? And also someone, and so that's the one that's the person that I'd like to shot.
awesome. You said her name is Anna?
Yeah, something that you have in common.
It's Anna's a very old name. That name goes way, way, way back across lots of cultures. Thank you so much. What can we promote? Is there a website or organization she's involved with that I can put in the show notes?
Yeah, so she works for Namgyal Institute of Tibetology. But yeah, so Namgyal Tibet, so it's a very interesting story. Like, you know, so when China was invading Tibet, the Dalai Lama, since Tibet is again like a place with so much information and knowledge about the traditions and stuff, right? So the Dalai Lama didn't want all of this information to be tainted by the Chinese or be left in the wrong hands. So he
Mhm.
asked the king of Sikkim back then, since we are like Tibet was very close to Sikkim, because back then Tibet was also a country and Sikkim was also a country, right? And both were
Yep,
Buddhist nations. Both
yep.
were Buddhist nations. So he asked the king of Sikkim, so if they can keep all of these like secret manuscripts and objects safe And that's why he all sent all of this info, all of these manuscripts and stuff to Sikkim, and then the king of
Wow.
Sikkim built this like institute, which is like I think it's the only institute which is a research center, uh, museum, and also temple, all in one, you know. And so Anna kind of like heads the research wing for that.
Wow. That is so fascinating. AJ, it was such a pleasure to speak with you today and hear some of your life story and learn from you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Annabelle.
You're
I
so
would love to
welcome.
talk to you more, but yeah, thank you so much for your time.
If you've enjoyed today's discussion, I invite you to share this episode and subscribe to Able Pathways podcast on your favorite platform. Your support helps us to share these meaningful conversations with more people. Have thoughts about this episode or suggestions for future guests? We would love to hear from you. Leave us a comment or email us at hello@ablepathways.com. Until next time, I'm Annabelle, reminding you that there are infinite pathways to growth. May you travel yours with curiosity and courage.